Next, in big news, we are talking about cancellation of cops. Bad boys, what you gonna do? Yeah, they are canceled. Cops got canceled. They end their 6-year run. It was pulled last week after the George Floyd death. Series will not be coming back, according to the news articles. Cops is not on the Paramount Network. We don't have any current or future plans for it to return, a Paramount spokesman said in a statement. Live PD on A&E, however, may be coming back. Let's see here. It's still evaluating the right time to bring it back, but it appears unlikely to happen anytime soon. So that is the end of an era for Cops. Now, if you remember, Cops, as I said, Cops' 6-year run from this article, but really it's been on a number of different networks. My understanding is it's been on the air for about 25 years. So what are the reactions? What are people saying? Whoa, Cops. I mean, a lot of people watch Cops. Everybody grew up watching Cops. And I asked Miss Faith to go ahead and take a look at some of the reactions, and here's what she's pulled up. All right. So people are unhappy about it. Boo, F and BS, this is ridiculous. The news media labeled all cops bad. This is not, the show should be canceled if cops show up. I'm sick and tired of every network freaking out. All this over one person. Please consider bringing it back. Way too much pandering going on, the cancel culture, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. And so I actually couldn't disagree more with any of those opinions. In my mind, Cops was propaganda for law enforcement. Another commenter actually on the show introduced me to the phrase COPaganda. COPaganda, which is, cops sort of fluffing themselves up and making themselves to be heroes at every single turn of the hour just for doing their jobs. And people are upset that the Cops show is canceled. But I am, like I said, I'm very happy about it. And the reason why, the propaganda that we see from Cops, every time that you saw an episode of one of those, I didn't watch a lot of them. I watched them before I became a criminal defense attorney, and then I started to watch what they were doing, and it's just so disgusting. What the show would do is highlight basically the worst of the worst. And they would find these people who very clearly have mental health problems. They've got substance abuse disorders, alcoholics, massive, really hard drug problems, people from broken homes, people with a lot of past trauma. And we saw some very colorful people in the history of that show, very overweight, deformed, drug use, scabs. I mean, really just, hurting people like you and me, just in really bad situations. And the cops would go in and they would just, of course, on Cops, they would do everything by the book, everything by the rule. They'd call everything in. This is Officer Smith so-and-so, and just reporting on a crime here, according to protocol 1, 2, 3, and everything's by the book. And we're going to go ahead and just confirm we can make an arrest there. And is that okay, dispatch? And dispatch comes through. Yeah, sure, John Smith. Yeah, have a great time. Go. Okay. Everything is like a big hunky-dory love fest on that show for law enforcement. Everything's in the good light, and they always get the bad guy, and they're always arresting somebody, and they're always finding drugs, and they're always serving their community, which, of course, is all just nonsense. I mean, we know on a daily basis what the cops do. I cover it on the show here. We talk about badpopo all the time. I have a whole wall of mugshots from cops who have been arrested for breaking the law themselves. I have personal experience representing many people who didn't do the things that the cops said they did. Many, many people. So it's just propaganda in my mind. It's propaganda. And it's not something that I think should be on the air, because here's what happens. I want to come full circle with this. Let's tie this back to the earlier segment in the show of those counter protesters who were sitting on the side of the road, laying on somebody's back, kind of mocking the kneeling thing on somebody's neck, sort of playing that it's George Floyd. And what do they say? They say, should have listened to the cops, should have complied, he wouldn't be dead. Well, I explained previously that they didn't even watch the video. Of course, George Floyd was totally compliant with what the cops were asking him to do. He was on the ground in handcuffs. He had to comply, and he had a knee on his neck, so it's totally irrelevant. But the point is, they are indoctrinated with this mindset that cops are heroes. Cops are always right. All you have to do is comply, and the cops will just take care of you. So just don't be a criminal, and everything's going to work out for you. Well, look, let's say that about George Floyd. There was allegedly a $20 counterfeit bill, which I covered previously. Nobody saw that. Breonna Taylor was shot and killed in her home by a bunch of cops with no wrongdoing. She was an EMT. I mean, there's countless and countless, thousands and thousands of dead people at the hands of cops for doing nothing wrong. I think it's like 1,000 a year, right? So every couple of years, we have a 9/11 of dead people at the hands of cops. Now, you can say some of those are justified. Maybe some of them are. Does it need to be that many people? Probably not. Are there that many completely justified killings? The answer is no. Okay, we're talking about it. The whole world sees it. The whole country sees it. It is not justified. But by watching cops, by having this thing on the air for 25 years, of people just knowing the bad boys, they know the theme song, they know exactly that the cops are going to win, the bad guys are going to lose. Every criminal is a dreg of society. Every person who's has any interaction with the cops is a piece of garbage criminal. That is the mindset. That is the stereotype. That's what causes other people to turn around and say, just comply with the cops. Ahmaud Arbery shouldn't have run. Maybe if he didn't run, maybe he shouldn't have been on the street. They come up with all of these rationales to say that what the cops do is justified. So the fact that it's off the air, I think, is a very good thing. I would very much like to just take a sip of this beverage here. My throat's a little bit parched, but cheers. No more cops. Cheers to the end of cops. Good stuff.